Welcome to this video on sampling and the Central Limit Theorem. In this session, we will explore why the bell curve appears so frequently in data science through a simulation-driven approach. We have a comprehensive roadmap today. We'll start with the soup taste analogy, move into population versus sample, conduct a live CLT experiment, define standard error, and wrap up with your lab deliverable. Why don't you have to drink the whole pot of soup to know if it needs salt? Because a single well-stirred spoonful is representative. This simple kitchen metaphor perfectly illustrates the concept of statistical inference. The most important part of this analogy is the question, did you stir? If you didn't, no amount of data will make your sample trustworthy. If you did, you've unlocked the math that makes sampling valid. It is essential to adopt an honest frame. All real-world data is a sample. The true population is almost always unknowable, but your sample provides a window onto that larger reality. Let's clarify our vocabulary. A population parameter is the true unknowable value. A sample statistic is our computable yet imperfect guess. The wobble between different samples is what we call sampling variability. Using NumPy, we can demonstrate this variability. By drawing multiple samples of 50 orders from our population dataset, we can clearly see the sample means fluctuating. This wobble is the core problem we must manage. Now for our showpiece experiment. Our order data is heavily right-skewed, featuring a whale tail of high-value orders. We are going to take 2,000 samples and visualize the distribution of their means. Here is the code to run that experiment. By using a loop to collect 2,000 sample means, we can effectively simulate the behavior of our sampling distribution using NumPy's efficient processing capabilities. The result is remarkable. Despite the underlying data being skewed, the distribution of the sample means forms a perfect bell curve. You haven't just accepted the Central Limit Theorem, you have demonstrated it. The data can be skewed, whale tail and all, but the means will form a bell anyway. That is the power and the miracle of the Central Limit Theorem. When we repeat this at different sample sizes, we see that while all distributions form a bell, the width of that bell changes. A larger sample size, like 500, results in a much narrower, more precise bell. We have two key takeaways. The distribution centers around the population mean, and it tightens as sample size increases. Random variation cancels out, leading to more reliable estimates with more observations. Why does this work? Think of individual data points as independent nudges. When you average many of them together, the random high and low nudges cancel each other out, leading to a stable average. Finally, we name this with standard error. It quantifies the typical wobble of your sample mean. The formula, standard deviation divided by the square root of n, shows exactly how sample size reduces that error. Now, let's verify our formula. We've defined the standard error as the standard deviation divided by the square root of n. Let's see if this theoretical prediction matches our measured results from the simulation. This single equation tells you everything you need to know about the cost of precision. It breaks down into two parts, sigma, the noise in your population, and the square root of n, where diminishing returns live. The math here is unforgiving. Because of the square root law, to cut your wobble in half, you need to quadruple your data. This governs every conversation about how much data do we need in industry. In business terms, this means going from 1,000 to 2,000 users provides much more value than jumping from 100,000 to 101,000. Early data collection pays the highest dividends. You can see here how quickly returns diminish. The gain in precision from doubling your sample size drops significantly as your sample grows larger. Chasing marginal precision at scale gets very expensive, very fast. A critical warning, the square root of n formula only fixes wobble. It does not fix bias. If your sample is skewed or unrepresentative, 1,000,000 observations will just make you more precisely wrong. Remember, Fix your sampling design first. Always stir the pot before you worry about the size of the spoon you are using to take your sample. We must treat wobble and bias as two completely different problems. Wobble is fixed by larger samples, but bias requires better collection methods. They require entirely different tools in your data science toolkit. Every inference follows this chain: collect, compute, estimate the standard error, and finally, make your inference. The central limit theorem is what makes step 3 defensible and robust. Now it is time for your hands-on lab. You will run the CLT experiment on your own data. This process is the engine behind all the analytical work we will do in the rest of this module. This starter code template will guide you through the experiment. Swap in your own dataset, run the loop, and observe how your data behaves across different sample sizes. Watch out for common misconceptions. The central limit theorem describes the distribution of means, not your raw data. And remember, the n greater than 30 rule is just a heuristic, not a law. Let's do a quick check. If you have 10 million records, are you automatically unbiased? No. Scale only shrinks wobble. It cannot fix a systematic design flaw in your sampling. In summary, all real data is a sample. Means will form a bell even if the data is skewed, and having your wobble is expensive. You now have the tools to handle these challenges. Finally, here is a glossary for today's episode. Keep these terms handy as you work through your lab notebook. Great work today, and I will see you in the next session. This lab is the engine under our next episode. By measuring the width of the bell and the standard error at your sample size, you are building the foundation of hypothesis testing. Here is how our journey fits together. We started with bias in Module 1, moved through distribution shapes, and today we tackle the central limit theorem. This prepares us for hypothesis testing in the next episode. For instructors, remember to use real-world skewed data to make the CLT's effect truly surprising. Demonstrate the bell shape before naming it to maximize impact. Keep your simulation loops fast and emphasize that the square root law only fixes wobble, not bias. Coming up in Episode 7, we will use everything we've learned to determine if observed gaps in data are meaningful or just statistical noise. This is the essence of hypothesis testing. Your final deliverable is to run the full CLT experiment. Calculate how many records you need to have your wobble and ensure your CLT notebook is complete. This will be essential for our upcoming work in hypothesis testing. This program was brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team and Technovative AI.